Yes, a very good speech, very educational. One of the things I'm thinking should be fast-tracked for the sake of human lives is the fully automated motor vehicles. Very important because human errors can cost lives and they can cost money, but lives are even more important, cannot be replaced. And so many people still drink and drive and do silly things on the road, and that can really, that would be a really good advance, but the problem is things are too commercialised and the car industry is stuck in the past. Like all industries, everything's manually or semi-automatically operated, and it's actually causing a great deal of problems, and the reputation of technology and scientists is actually very poor at the moment. It's not the future at the moment, but I don't want to lose faith. I'm not going to lose faith. I'm going to keep pushing it. We have people who we want to utilise to build machines that are self-guided or artificially intellectual, but they are not getting any kind of respect or any kind of help. They either try to enter industries that they like, but they can't get in, because the kind of people running the industry, funnily enough, are the people who have an IQ of 90 to 110, who are very versatile, but they're so versatile that they can actually take on tasks that are too big, and they don't do it with the same passion or same diligence as a person, say, who's a scientist, who many of them have Asperger's syndrome, which they actually treat as a disorder. They don't give that condition any respect, any kind of cred, and it's a very beautiful disorder because the people who have it tend to be very smart and if you don't treat, and if they're not treated with such rudeness and such contempt, they can be they're the most ethical and the most loving people. And the typical, the thing is, we want this technology. I want to push this technology, we can't push it in an aggressive way. But the thing is, we have to somehow convince the world that these people are not dropouts or losers or just playing video games. I mean, because the world is actually falling apart. We are getting global warming on a grand scale. We're at a tipping point. Renewable energy is what we want. But the people running the world, they couldn't give a fig about the future, because they live today, they die, and they say, that's it, life's gone, finished. We don't think for now, we think of ourselves. We're going to put ourselves to die, and that's it. We go straight to dust, and we don't care about the kids who follow. They don't care. They build the machines. They appear to be learning how to do code, and they can learn, but they can't do it with the same power that a person, say, with Asperger's syndrome can do. They say that Einstein and Bill Gates, among many others, are suspected to have Asperger's syndrome. The greatest workers on earth. But if you put them in, now they don't have the same rights. In the 90s, the internet was like the beginning of something revolutionary, but like a lot of things, it's a bit like a war. They were allowed in the industries, but being the minority, they like anything, they just couldn't hold the fort, and they ended up being ejected from the industries over time, and over about a 15-year period, or maybe 20-year period, and now they're impossible to they can't penetrate the industry. They can't show any love for the industry. They cannot show any love for people even now, because they've lost their minds. I've spoken to university grads or university people, and they seem so glazed and detached. So they love the study, but they don't see there's no practical application, because they can't get work. We've got people around the world who can build some amazing stuff on YouTube, on Google+, but they're not even treated as citizens. They're treated as dropouts, losers, no hopers. They don't have any say. They can't even speak. They won't even speak up. I try to encourage them. I try to send them stuff that is on their level, but I seem to be getting minimal response. I mean, they might be watching my stuff, but then I don't know. The thing is, I'm not after a big popularity hit. If there's any popularity involved, it's only so I can get these people to create something, or to at least start to believe in self-derision and self-pity and self not believing in yourself is the first step to failure. And it just takes that one step, and that's it. Your life's trashed. You've trashed your life. You've trashed everything. You've given your enemies or your haters so much leverage that they rule everything, and you can't stop them now. They're unstoppable. The only way to stop this advance is to basically somehow take these people out of suburban places. Many of them live in third world countries, but you don't have to be in a third world country to be living a third world life, and it makes them very upset. Most of them, the demographic is they are referred to as nerds and geeks, playing video games, reviewing gadgets. Is that a life? No, but then you add to the ante, you've got no friends for many of these people. You've got no homes, of course. They can't afford to buy a house like these normal people can. Another thing to note is almost all of them don't have wives or husbands, which really is not necessary. But it's because they've been so crushed out of everything they love. And what are their lives functioning on? Many of them, about 85% of people with Asperger's syndrome are on disability pensions, which they're costing those overlords. They're not. We'll call them overlords for now because that's the effect they're having on us. They're overlords. And they say what they say does, because if they've got this stuff in their hand, money, and they've also got they connect with each other with such ease. They've taught us to hang out in their communities and to conform to their nasty standards. But when they try to conform, they get mentally sick, they get angry, and they still don't get the respect. They can't get the social rewards or the money rewards. And it's actually costing the world a lot. It's costing us a bomb, and it could even produce World War III for all we know. We've had people speculating over that. So I've become the public face of helping these geeks, but it's not just about helping the geeks, because these normal people who are acting as overlords will eventually say thank you, because their children will be drinking, because most of them have children, right? They could be drinking electronic waste in their water supply. They'll end up not having enough. There'll be not enough fossil fuels to run the electricity. We'll have global warming beyond fixing, beyond repair. It distresses me to look at this stuff. And the thing is, we really need self-guided machines because, AI, but we can't start with androids, which I've seen researchers going into. It is very dangerous. We have people I have a man who has put me as a public face. This man has actually been saving money, lots and lots of money, for a certain project. He only sells the equipment that has been produced commercially. He's an expert on the topic. He's employed me as the spokesperson. He wants to build a self-guided photocopier. And imagine that, being able to tell that photocopier what to do. And photocopier design is something that I've delved into for a very long time. It starts out as a hobby and an interest, but I've taken it on as a very serious job, because if that photocopier industry could be just one industry that changes. But I can't just say the photocopier industry now, because remember, we do have global warming, we need renewables, and we need them now. So there are people out there who, although the photocopier is my primary cause and his primary cause and the cause of many people, I want to hire people around the world to build this machine. It's going to take a lot of power, but I still want to work exactly on the same level. Concurrently, there has to be renewable energy being developed alongside this thing too, because we've got no time just to design the photocopier first and then have everything click into line. The automotive industry is under threat in Australia too, and of course lives are being lost on the roads. So as I said, I wanted to fast track that as well. So there are other people who would be more tilted towards, more focused on renewables. To me, renewable energy is important, and I can't ignore it. I want it to be going, but the photocopier is to me, is the number one. That's my task. But there has to be there'll be other people who I must employ to run this alongside. And there could be cars, there could be all sorts of amazing stuff, jetpacks, whatever. Those things should have been starting up 20 years ago. The money gods are in control. And the only way to create this dream is to take these people, get them to connect, because many of them don't have an internet connection. Many of them are not are too scared because of bullying, persistent bullying, and feeling rotten about themselves. They're in deep depression. They're doing all sorts of crazy things like smoking marijuana, and even some of them have even turned it to violent crimes. So our reputation is being sullied by being called antisocial or unsocial. We're not connectable socially, and they're too focused on social stuff, but social does not produce enough concentration to build a better computer, a better car, whatever. And there's people on YouTube who I see so talented, Google Plus, everywhere, but they're hung out to dry, like they're just hanging there in space, cyberspace, waiting for a miracle of some kind. And many of them have given up hope and have just abandoned their tube channels. So I'm going to try and raise awareness, and I will keep doing it. I'll keep networking these people as hard as I can, but many of them will not connect, and I don't even know if many people are watching my stuff because they're very nervous people, very suspicious people, and I see a lot of nasty comments on their pages. They fight each other. They're not unified. We need unity, but the final switch has to be through, oddly enough, the mass media. And that's proven harder than I thought to activate. Because what I have to do is I have to try and create some kind of movies, videos that relate to the industries that the industry that these people work in once that they can't get into. Creativity and art and technology. But I've known that it works because I've actually helped a bunch of people in my local area, and I handed them a disc full of my product demos. Right, they were just fun, just amateur films videos done on Galaxy Nexus. They were not even edited; they were just raw video chips. I just gave them to them on video discs. I gave it 8 hours, and suddenly they just came to life because it was part of their industry. Because many of these guys have forgotten about the industries they worked in. It goes into what would be a repressed memory. They don't want to remember that they get high on dope. What can they do? And they're very ethical people, and they're very frightened people. Hand them discs. I handed it to a guy that runs a chicken shop who should really be working. He worked in R&D back in the glory days, 90s. And he suddenly wakes up and he realises he wants to get back on the horse and get back to the industry. The only problem is he has to realise that the industry now will not let him in. We have to make our own version. I want to create, it's not just my dream, I'm being employed as a spokesperson, but I want that dream. I'm in unity with this man, and he wants to, and I want to create a Silicon Valley. Take these guys away from the public and let them work in their own environment, like the philosophy of the 90s. So the only way to do that is to basically get the media to sort of take my videos, the best ones I've got on my YouTube channel, and somehow fire them through the TV screens of the people who are dying of death and boredom and no sense of meaning in life, no human contact, no work contact. To a person with Asperger's syndrome, work is central, task is central. And also I believe that they should be married, because a person with Asperger's syndrome is said to be focused on wanting one person. They'll try to monopolise one person. That person may be a normal person, a neurotypical. That neurotypical isn't going to like it, and then they're going to call. Then what a person with Asperger's syndrome will do in an environment like that is they can't have a reciprocal conversation. They'll talk over the neurotypical, and then the neurotypical will have a case and say, well, that person's selfish, that person's rude, that person is a monologuer, he talks over me, because we talk a different language to them. But they keep saying that, and you can't reason with them anymore. So they can talk to themselves, we can talk to ourselves, and we have no gift to give them. We don't have anything to hand them, because most of us are poor or doing junk, rubbish jobs, including uni grads, wasted educations. So now what we have to do is if we can build this self-guided photocopier, if we can supply renewable energy, practical objects to these people, well, then they'll one day respect us. Until then, we just don't talk to them and we just go to get to work. But thank you for listening to this. But that was really good. Education. Thank you very much. Goodbye.